Hi everybody and welcome back to my modeling channel. So today we're gonna build a Macchi aerobatic aircraft. It's the SF-260 and we're gonna do it in a colorful civilian livery. So let's open the box and see what we have inside. So the kit is coming for a few Air Force, but also has some civilian decals, which is very nice for what I like to do. So we have two screws this time, and one is mainly for the fuselage, the engine's options. Apparently, I know there is a turboprop version for another livery, but that's going to be for later on. So we have some pretty basic engravement for the structure panel. Compared to the further kit I have from the same brand, it's a bit disappointing. I had a better kit quality in the past. But anyway, nevertheless, we're going to build that nice kit. So the second part is basically the wings, the cockpit with the seats. It's a two-seater apparently. And you have also some other options for Air Forces, as you can launch missiles or flares or stuff like that. But that's not what I'm into. I'm more into building a civilian version. So now we have also one clear part on that kit, and that's going to be the whole canopy. And we can open this up. And that's a pretty nice window. It's pretty clear, so that's gonna allow us to do some details, hopefully as much as we can, as I normally enjoy doing so. And we'll see what the rest. So now let's move on to the instruction sheet. Colorful A4 format, as you can see. Pretty straightforward. You got the kit descriptions with all the parts, what you're gonna need, what you're not gonna need. And of course all the descriptions, so you have different possibilities of what you want to do, and you'll have the chance as well to build up, and you have the decals, but I'll show you that on the next sections. So pretty straightforward. I have to say that it seems to be a nice little kit. It's going to be nice in my collections, so I'm going to enjoy that. Now let's have a look on the decal. Decal section is very nice. You have 3 different Air Forces, a civilian marking, and you have also the structure panel, the cockpit, the seat belts are included in those decals, so that's going to be able to enhance our cockpit and our details a little bit. So let's have a look now on the last part, and we're going to be able to see which which liveries we're able to make. So the first one is for the Irish Air Force. Then you have a civilian British marking, pretty nice in red and white, so I'm gonna probably do this one. The Belgian Air Force, and this is for the Danish Air Force. So we're gonna enjoy building that little kit. And enough of talking, and let's start building. So we're gonna start this build by preparing the cockpit. So we'll have to prepare all the parts. There is a little bit of plastic coming from the mold, and I have to say that this brand has that same tendency as the Eastern Express, so you have always a little bit of extra on the part itself, on the part. So you have to remove it with a little bit of caution. So we're gonna build now the cockpit. So we will put the seat, then the rudder pedal, and then the stick. We will then move to the engine part. So for this, the engine is in 2 parts, actually the engine cowl, and then we will paint the cylinder's head with the iron metallic part, and then we will put it on the cone. After finishing this, we will then fill all the gaps with some Tamiya putty, but nothing too difficult. So while the putty will be drying, there will be a few adjustments. We will prepare all the other parts, which mean the main fuselage will have to be prepared. We will remove all the extra plastic coming from the mold, and then we're gonna work also on the wings. So we'll prepare the wings, and after finishing and removing all the extra plastic, we will fix the tip tank. And but funnily, what I will do this time is I will initially put half of the tank on the wing, and then I will add later on the other part on the second part of the tank, basically, and close the tank. So following this, I will initially put a coat of black paint for the interior of the cockpit, according to the pictures I could find. So I will put some glossy black paint on the interior of the aircraft and for the cockpit and the other parts all together, and then we'll be able to continue on. So while I was doing some research, I saw lots of pockets, and the structures are also in dark navy blue. So this will be added for the inside of the fuselage, and I will also paint our seat like that. So we'll start now working on the interior of the aircraft, and you will see the whole process. I will now use some gray paint, and that's for the grip for the stick, and also for the pedestal, and also the instrument panel. So for this I use a very tiny paintbrush. Now what I will do is I will use a dry brush, basically, and while you do the dry brush, basically it's to give some more, you basically remove the extra paint on the brush itself, and then you'll be able to give more structure and reveal all the structures and the details inside by having only the edge basically covered with a little bit of that extra paint remaining on the brush. Then we're gonna paint basically the seat belt over our seats. I will do the cockpit basically by adding some decal, and basically one decal will cover all the instrument panel. So we're gonna fix this on the aircraft. Then we're gonna put basically the exhaust, which needs to be fixed inside the aircraft, and so there will be no other part. And then we're gonna basically put our glare shield on the cockpit, and then we'll be working on closing the cockpit and the fuselage all together. So once everything has been cured, we're going to remove all the extra glue who dried out. I close also some gaps with some putty, and then we're going to remove all those ones and remove the extra putty and extra plastic, and then we'll be able to fix the wings. So there will be a little bit of preparation as the wings are not at a correct shape. So I had to remove some extra plastic basically at the junction. Then we're gonna be able to fit and glue the wings to our fuselage. The next step is to close all the gaps by adding some putty and let it dry, and of course we'll have to sand it down a little bit later on. In the meantime, I will add as well a little bit of putty on the junction between the wings and the fuselage, and then I will close basically the engines. But what I did forget during this build was to basically put some ballast and some load. So I will realize that later on, of course, and instead of reopening the part and resanding down, I decided basically to remove the glare shield and to add some weight pushing it through the aircraft. So we will now fit our fins or elevator, and of course we'll use the standard glue, and then of course we'll have to close the gaps between the fuselage and the elevator, and of course we're gonna remove all the extra putty later on. And as I was mentioning earlier, I realized that I forgot to put the ballast, so I removed the glare shield with the instrument panel, and then I add some screws, were quite heavy, put also some modeling paste, and then I was able to close this down by putting back our cockpit back together, so nothing was seen. So it's now time to go to the paint booth, and I will basically put a primer and an overhaul coat of clear white Matterhorn paint on the aircraft. I will cover the whole aircraft with this color, and then later on we will do some other work, and we're gonna paint. Of course I will have to add some mask to do all our aerobatic theme for this plane. So I was checking some picture on the internet on top of the descriptions for the paint scheme, and basically so I used some Tamiya masking tape and design all that paint, and then we'll be able to move on to the red coat. And of course having the white on the background give you a better texture and a nicer shiny red to the final result of the paint. So we'll now move to back to the paint booth and put that nice shiny red color on the fuselage. And I have to say that I really enjoy the colors and the livery of that aircraft. It really look really nice, look like a sport car almost, I would say. After waiting a few days for the curing time, basically, I always have issues with the red. Now we're gonna paint the exhaust pipe, and then we're gonna add our decal. So the decal was pretty easy. I mean, there was just the tail number. The rest was mainly paint and masking tape. So I have to say that it went pretty easy. Then we will move on, of course, toward the other parts of the build, but there is also some other decals, but you will see that a little bit later on. But there is not too much we can say, except that they are all structural for every aircraft, so a little bit of inscriptions, not too much to talk about. So after that, of course, we're gonna start working now on the undercarriage, and the undercarriage was funnily was a red color, I mean and a white color. So we're gonna work on the nose wheel and on the main wheel, and then we're gonna be able to fit them on the aircraft. So we're moving now to the assembly of the undercarriage. So I'm getting all the parts ready all together. Then we're gonna put them using some super glue, as sometimes for small parts I realize that super glue is most of the time much easier to use than regular glue or extra thin glue. So we're gonna fix them basically now on the aircraft, and then we're gonna do all the last little details for the models. And so put the gear doors and the last couple of details before we finish the model. And this is the final result of that SIAI 260 from Kovozavody Model. I hope you enjoyed that build with me. If you did so, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you soon for another build review, another kit review. Thank you for watching.